So today I'm going to start building a new log splitter. This is my current log splitter. I've had it for 4 or 5 years. It's just your generic, pretty typical horizontal style splitter. It's nothing special. It works okay, but it's pretty beat up. It was pretty beat up when I bought it used 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm gonna build a new one, and I'm gonna build a vertical style instead of this horizontal style. I've never used a vertical style splitter, but they've become more popular the past couple years, and I've seen a bunch of videos on them, and I feel like I would like using a vertical style splitter. So I'm gonna give it a shot building my own version of one. So I've been gathering a bunch of parts for this build, and I don't have everything yet, but I got enough to start. The main idea behind this vertical splitter is going to be this forklift mast that I have. And I actually have another video on this. I got this forklift mast for free, and then I turned it into a 3-point forklift mast for my tractor. And it works all right. It's a little big for my tractor, but I don't really use it that much. And I also plan on getting a skid steer in the future, so that would pretty much deem this useless. So I think it would be a pretty good idea using this as the vertical, use it as like the slide up and down because it's already on bearings. Pretty much most splitters they just ride like right on a steel I-beam or a plate like this, and it obviously wears over time. I think somebody had added this after it got wore down. So I think the bearings would be a good idea. So this is the side shift mast that I already took off. I got to cut some other stuff off this and clean it up also. Unfortunately, I can't use the hydraulic cylinder that's on there because it's only a one-way cylinder. It's only got hydraulic up. So I might use the cylinder off my old splitter. I'm not sure yet. I'll at least use it to mock it up. Here's the axle I'm going to use. I cut that off my sawmill. That it doesn't need to be on there. I never take it anywhere, so I'm going to use that. And then I have some 8-inch C-channel, which is way overkill, but I had it laying around. That's what I'm going to use for the main frame of the splitter. So I'm going to start with that. Almost forgot to mention I did get the engine for it too. This is a 20-horse Mitsubishi diesel. I haven't figured out any of the hydraulics, the what size pump and all that yet, but it should be pretty cool with a diesel. But anyways, I'm gonna start making the frame first. I got most of the frame welded up. I misjudged some of my notches here, but it'll be fine. Like I said, this is definitely overkill, but the mast, the forklift mast, is pretty stout, so I'd rather overbuild it than underbuild it. So next I need to cut this axle, and I actually already cut this once to shorten it for my sawmill. So it's kind of funny, I gotta cut it again and add probably about the same amount I cut out to make it work for this frame. It's about 5 foot is this frame towards the back here. So I'm gonna cut that and get that mounted. So I didn't have the right size tube to extend this axle, but I did have a piece of this 2-inch outside diameter, which is the same as the old inside diameter of this axle tube. So it fit in pretty tight. I think I got it close enough. This isn't gonna do a ton of road miles, so I'm not really worried about it. It's pretty close though, other than it's gonna bother me a little bit that it looks goofy, but you're never gonna see it. This was a 3,500 pound axle. With all the amount of times I cut and re-welded it, it's got to be good for at least 3,000 still. But I'm gonna get this off the table now. They don't sell longer. That's going to be really nice. I don't know about you guys, but I like a lot of working table surface for splitting wood. It's about 6.5 feet by 20 inches wide, this back table. So you can load up a bunch of your rounds and then work through them standing up. You don't have to keep bending over and picking them up. Another thing I'm going to do, which I've never seen before, but I thought it was a good idea, my log lift that I'm going to build is going to come off on a 90 right here. So you can load up your log lift and on this table, and then when it comes up, you're gonna have an L, and you're gonna have a nice working countertop almost. So you're gonna be right here, you don't have to move a lot. Pretty much all the log lifts I've seen come right off the side, which, I mean, I don't know why, but it seems better to me to have it coming off a 90, so you're right here, you don't have to walk very far. Another thing is I did add another support right here, and this is right where my wedge is going to be. So it's not going to be center of the rear table, which might seem kind of goofy. I've never seen that done before either, but I'll explain that more once I get that mast mounted and show you where my wedge is. It'll make more sense. But I got all this tacked up. This is 1/4 inch wall 2x2 tubing, and this is a 1/4 inch plate on top. It's super sturdy. I don't think I'm going to have any problems. It'll last a long time. So I'm gonna get that forklift mast mounted off center and kind of show you where my wedge is gonna be. That might be a little tricky though. That was a little tricky. It was hard getting that mast square to the table, but I did the 3, 4, 5 method. I had to add little plates that wasn't quite 4 foot, so that's 4 foot, and then I have a 3 foot mark, and then the in between is 5 foot to get your right angle. So I feel pretty confident it's running pretty square with the frame. And then this way, I knew the top of the table to the bottom, I knew that was really square with the frame. So as long as I got that and this, it flat to those two, I know it's gonna be square this way to the frame or to the table also. So I feel pretty good about it. I am gonna get my stick welder out and put some good passes on these two sides. The Vulcan just doesn't have enough heat for this thick metal, so I'm gonna get a lot more weld on those. But it's looking pretty interesting. I'm not sure anyone's done this pallet fork mast idea before. It's gonna go pretty smooth. The bearings in here have pretty tight tolerances, so I feel pretty good about it. It's got bearings side to side also, and they're pretty beefy, so it should hold up to some abuse, hopefully. I still haven't figured out where my cylinder is gonna go. This is all the way down. I have to make a wedge in here, my splitting wedge, and then I have to figure out how to tuck a cylinder in here, and it'll come up and down and split right in the middle here. But I got to get a cylinder to figure that out. But I'm gonna weld up my log lift really quick that I want to come out on a 90. It's just gonna be same size as this table, not as long. I got to figure out the right length to hit the ground. But I'm gonna weld that up really quick. It's nothing special. I'm not gonna film that. So let me do that and get that mounted. So that's what I was thinking for the log lift. I still need to add like a kicker plate down here, probably horizontal where it lands on the ground, like 10 or 15 inches or something. So you can roll your logs on and then it catches them as you lift it up. I thought I had some beefier hinges. Those are kind of small. Hopefully those hold up. If not, I'll have to put some bigger ones on. But this is gonna be nice. That's like 4 foot, and then the main table's, I think, 6.5 foot. So when you lift all your logs up nice and horizontal, when you're splitting, you'll have a nice big nice big working surface to just stand in one spot and keep working through a bunch of rounds. Or if you have a partner, he can, help keep loading the table, and then you can just stand here and split. So I don't know if I explained why I offset the wedge yet. That's the main reason, is because I knew I was gonna do an L table. And then I thought if I centered the wedge with the frame, I felt like all this space out here was kind of wasted, because you're not gonna stack your rounds to split on both sides. You wanna work from one side to the other. So this is gonna be the split ends. I'll probably have like a tote here and load as I go. Maybe a conveyor or something in the future, but I don't see myself needing a conveyor. So the plan is just work the rounds this way and then split them all. And then, maybe you have to put a half on this side or whatever to work through it, and then like stack them in a tote or wherever right next to it. So that was the main reason behind it. But I'm gonna kind of end this video here because I need a bunch of parts. I have to find my main cylinder for the split and wedge. I don't think I can use my old one. I got to find like the perfect size. I need a cylinder for the log lift. That is why I offset. I don't think I said that. That's why I had to offset these hinges. There's a big gap there because I want this to lift vertically for storage, or not for storage, but when I travel and stuff, I want that to be able to swing all the way up. But I need a bunch of parts. I need the pump, all kinds of stuff. But I am gonna mock up really quick where I'm gonna put the oil tank and the engine on the tongue here so you guys can see that. So here's my rough thoughts on positioning. I got the pretty big oil tank and then the engine. The engine might be going 90 degrees kind of with the oil tank. It depends on the pump I get. I don't know how big that is. I don't know if there's enough room for that there. And then these things can kind of be sunk in the frame some more, a little deeper, so that'll save some room. I got to cut those tabs off so the oil tank can get closer. There's still a lot to figure out. Fan, radiator, exhaust, bunch of hydraulic parts. The easy part is done, in my opinion, was done in this video. But hopefully in the next video, we have a bunch of parts and we can get this thing to split some wood.